Join History Victorum as we visit the stadium in Delphi, Greece. The stadium hosted the Pythian Games, which was one of the 4 main athletic competitions in ancient Greece and second only to the Olympic Games. It is partially built on the slope of Mount Parnassus with a retaining wall on the opposite side. It is also the most well-preserved stadium in all of Greece. The stadium sits above the rest of the Delphi complex and is partly built into the slope of Mount Parnassus. It was used for the music contest prior to the theater having been built at the complex. Here, we're going to stop and look at an inscription within the retaining wall of the stadium. You'll notice that there is this one stone that is very flat compared to the rest. On it, there is an inscription, and there is some debate as to what this inscription actually tells us. But we are aware that it pertains to the wine being consumed within or outside of the stadium. In one theory, the wine is not supposed to come out of the stadium for your own personal consumption, and there is a fine of 5 drachma if you do so. The other interpretation is that you cannot bring your own personal wine into the stadium for your consumption. And again, you have a 5 drachma fine related to that. The stadium was founded in the 5th century BC. In the 2nd century BC, due to financing from Herodes Atticus, took the form of its current state, with the stone seating and the 3-arch entrance. Herodes Atticus was also involved in other Greek structures, such as a theater called the Odeon of Herodes Atticus at the Acropolis in Athens. It is 1 stadion long, which is about 180 meters long, with the starting point at the location where we first reached the stadium and the finish line at the far end. It is believed that the stadium held as many as 7,000 attendees. On the northern side, which is built into the slope of Mount Parnassus, there are 12 rows of seats. The southern side and the semicircular ends only have 6 rows of seats. This was due to the terrain's sloping geography and is also the reason that the southern side required a retaining wall. There were corridors above the seats which allowed attendees to walk around and could be reached by 4 staircases. In the middle of the north side of seats, there is a long bench with a backrest that takes up the space of about 2 rows of seats. These were the honorary seats for judges and high-ranking officials. The starting gates had marble slabs with fluting on the floor, which is indented grooves running along them. This was done so that the runner's feet would have grip. There are also square notches for the posts that would have separated the runners. Here we can see the remains of the monumental vaulted structure that was built during the Roman period as the entrance to the stadium. It was originally supported by 3 arches that sat on 4 square pillars, which we can still see today. And you'll notice here on the 2 central pillars that there are notches in which statues used to reside. There were 4 main ancient Greek athletic games, which were the Pythia in Delphi that was dedicated to Apollo, the Isthmia, which was near Corinth, that was dedicated to Poseidon, the Nemea near Argos, that was dedicated to both Zeus and Hercules, and Olympic in Olympia, which was dedicated to Zeus. The Pythian Games were held in honor of Apollo's defeat of the giant snake Pytho, and were second in importance to the Olympic Games. With Apollo being the god of music and the arts, there were athletic and artistic competitions, with the winner of the flute playing competition then performing the flute during the Olympics long jump competition. The stadium hosted the athletic competitions of the Pythian Games on the 5th day of the religious festival, which lasted 6 to 8 days. The charioteer in the Archaeological Sites Museum is a great example of the importance of the games. It was a monument erected in commemoration of a victory that took place in 478 or 474 BC by the family of the Syracusan tyrant. I mentioned earlier in the video that there was a starting line on the other end over by the entrance. Here you can see on the ground that there is a finish line as well, and it is still visible to us today. Thank you for joining History Victorum. Feel free to like and subscribe to our channel.